Okay, we are now streaming. Shannon, you can put us on the record.
Okay.
This is a matter of Lucas Franstead, Ms. Tucker for the petitioner. Looks like Ms. Jacqueline Geyer on behalf of the agency, as well as, I guess that's it. Katie Comstock is present. I think, is she supervisor?
No, she's here for the next case, Your Honor, the Keys case.
Oh, I thought she told me she was here for 2 cases. That's all right. We'll just leave her there. Mr. Kelly is LGAL. Let's see. Mr. Hotchkiss represents Dad. Mr. Darling represents Mom, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mom and Dad are also present. Anything preliminary?
On behalf of Mr. Shaw, I've discussed the petition with him and his intentions going forward. And it's my understanding that he intends to enter a no contest plea. And Mom, in this case, I believe has already done so. Thank you.
Oh, okay. I lost track of that. Reason for a no contest plea?
The potential of civil and criminal liability.
Okay, give me just a moment. Okay, Mr. Shaw, would you raise your right hand, please? That's right.
All
You
right.
swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, Your Honor.
You can put your hand down now. State your full name for the record.
Travis Michael Shaw.
Mr. Shaw, you are the father, of Lucas Franstead, born April 26th of 2020.
Yes, sir.
And was Lucas located in the county of Jackson at the time the petition was filed?
Yes, sir.
Have you read the petition and do you understand the allegations that are made in it?
Yes, sir.
If the court accepts your no contest plea today, there will not be a trial, and therefore you would be giving up all of the rights that you would have at a trial. Those rights include the right to a trial by a judge or by a jury, the right to have the petitioner prove the statements in the petition by a preponderance of evidence, the right to question the witnesses who testify against you, the right to testify on your own behalf, and the right to have the court subpoena any witnesses who you believe would testify in your favor. Do you understand that you will be giving up all these rights if I accept your plea today?
Yes, sir.
If the court accepts your plea, the following consequences might happen. There will be continued investigation by the caseworker to see what the problems are in your home and family and how and whether they might be solved. The case could be dismissed if there's no need for further court involvement. If there are problems in your home and family that can be solved, the court could make your child a temporary ward of the court, place him with either parent, with relatives, or in foster care, and order programs and services designed to solve the problems. If the court determines you are unable to provide your son with a suitable home in a reasonable period of time, the court could terminate your parental rights, and your plea can be used as evidence in a proceeding to terminate your parental rights. Do you understand these consequences?
Yes, sir.
If your parental rights are later terminated, your obligation to support your son will continue until a court modifies or terminates that obligation, until an order of adoption is entered, or until the child is emancipated by operation of law. Appellate review is available to challenge an order of disposition following adjudication, and such a challenge can include any issues leading to the disposition, including errors in the adjudication. If you wish to seek appellate review and cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed to represent you on appeal and to assist you in obtaining court transcripts. You may be barred from challenging the court's assumption of jurisdiction if you do not file a timely appeal of the initial dispositional order. Do you have any questions about anything I've told you so far?
No, Your Honor.
Has anyone threatened you or promised you anything to get you to enter into a plea today?
No, sir.
Are you entering this no contest plea of your own free will?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand that I will treat your plea the same as I would an admission of responsibility?
Yes, sir.
What are we going to use as a factual basis for the plea? Do I need to take some testimony?
I thought, I guess I was under the impression the court may have had something from when mom entered her plea. Maybe,
Let me look.
maybe.
I'm sure if we took a no contest plea that I definitely have a marked exhibit with a factual basis. Let me look to see if I can find one. There's nothing here.
I was gonna say, I remember questioning Miss Geyer about Stacy's case. I don't recall if that was for probable cause purposes or if we ran a quick trial as to mom.
All right, well, I can take some testimony from Ms. Geyer. Let's just take a pause on the plea. Let me take that testimony and then I'll finish with Mr. Schall's plea. Ms. Geyer, would you raise your right hand, please? You do swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
You can put your hand down, state your full name for the record.
Jacqueline Geyer.
Go ahead, Ms. Tucker.
Thank you. It looks like I closed out of the petition, so if I could have just a moment to pull it back up.
You can.
Okay. Yeah, that's not great. Ms. Geyer, you're currently employed by the Department of Health and Human Services?
Yes, I am.
Okay, and you work for Calhoun County, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Is it through that capacity that you became involved with the minor child, Lucas Franstead, date of birth April 26, 2020?
Yes.
Okay. Father of that child is Travis Shaw, date of birth December 7th, 1987?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. What can you tell me about why Travis Shaw was marked as a respondent in this matter?
Mr. Shaw indicated that he was applying for the affidavit of parentage for Lucas Franstead.
Okay. But in terms of allegations, were there concerns about Travis Shaw having care and custody of the child?
Yes, there were. The concerns were domestic violence between Mr. Shaw and Ms. Franstead.
Okay. Through your investigation of that domestic violence between Travis Shaw and Stacy Franstead, did you learn that at any point in time the minor child was present for any altercations?
Yes, I did learn that the minor child, Lucas Franstead, was at the home during an altercation.
Okay. And at that time, was there any sort of safety plan that Lucas was not to be in the home?
Not at that time.
Okay. At a later point, was Lucas in the home when there was a safety plan for him not to be?
Yes, so after meeting with Ms. Franstead, after I received the allegations, I did safety plan with Ms. Franstead that Lucas was to not have, rather Travis Shaw was not to have any contact with Lucas Franstead. I later learned that Lucas was at Mr. Shaw's home.
Okay. Can you just briefly tell me some of the reasonable efforts that have been made in regards to Mr. Shaw?
Yeah, let me stop you for just a minute. I was looking for the petition myself, and the most recent petition I have still identifies Mr. Shaw as putative. Has there been an updated petition that was filed? Because I don't see it.
There has not. This is a case, and I apologize, I probably should have interrupted Mr. Hotchkiss when he said that his client wanted to enter a no contest plea. This is a case where the family had sent in the affidavit of parentage, and we just haven't been able to get a copy back. It's
I
been.
believe that's been returned. I think Mr. Shaw indicated that, I thought the caseworker had that.
Yeah,
Maybe-
Is there any objection to me amending on the record the petition dated, hold on, I can't read the file stamp. It's dated March 8 of 21 to indicate that Mr. Shaw is a respondent and to further indicate that he is now the legal father.
No objection
Objection.
from me.
All right, let me do that. Probably a good idea that happened before I actually finished taking his plea. And I am initialing that change and dating it. And I'm gonna amend 7A to strike the word putative and insert legal. And I'm initialing that change as well. Okay, I'm sorry. You may continue with your questioning of Ms. Geyer.
That's okay. Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Geyer, I believe I had asked you what sorts of reasonable efforts have been made with Mr. Shaw.
Sure. So prior to removal, I had a conversation with Mr. Shaw regarding services. Mr. Shaw indicated to me that he was working on his relationship privately with Ms. Branstad. At the time, it didn't seem with him that he was interested in services with the department. And then I later found out that Lucas Branstad was at Mr. Shaw's home. And based on the severity of the allegations, we made the decision that we needed to go to the home and remove Lucas.
And just to be clear, the incidents of domestic violence, do you recall if one of those incidents took place on January 31st of this year?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And then do you recall another domestic violence incident taking place on February 2nd of this year?
Yes.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
February 2nd of this year. Yes. No, you're correct. I'm sorry.
That's okay. And just to be clear, I know you said this once before, but Lucas was home for both of those occurrences?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. That's all the questions I have for this witness, Your Honor. I believe a factual basis has been laid for the court to take jurisdiction or to accept a no contest plea. I apologize.
And Ms. Geyer, does the petition accurately reflect what occurred during the incidents on January 31st and February 2nd of 2021?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So counsel, do you believe that the court has complied with MCR 3.971?
Yes, Your Honor.
Your Honor.
I do accept this plea. I find that it was knowingly, understandingly, and voluntarily made. I find that the record supports that one or more of the statutory grounds alleged in the petition are true. Are we prepared to proceed with disposition as to Mr. Shaw today?
Ms. Geyer, would you have recommendations from the foster care worker?
I think that would be better asked to the foster care staff that we have present, Mr. Despins and Mr. Green.
Sounds like Mr. Green has something ready to present.
Yes,
Mr.
I have
Green, what would be,
recommendations, Your Honor.
please go ahead with those.
Thank you. At this time, we're recommending that Lucas Branstad remain under the temporary and protective jurisdiction of the court and placed with the Department for Care and Supervision. Also recommending that parenting time of the parents be supervised or unsupervised at the discretion of the department or its designee. We're recommending that the parents and caregiver comply with and benefit from the case service plan. And each parent will be referred for a psychological evaluation, and we're recommending that they follow and complete any and all recommendations of the psychological evaluation, and any and all participate in any and all services as deemed necessary for Lucas Franstead.
Is there any consideration being given to a drug and alcohol assessment or testing? I noticed one of the allegations in the petition, Mr. Shaw was accused of being under the influence of methamphetamine.
Yes, sir. Both parents have been referred to AverHealth, and they are currently testing through AverHealth. Along with the psychological evaluation, there will be a substance abuse evaluation requested as well.
Very well. Mr. Hotchkiss, do you wish to be heard on the recommendations?
I believe my client's already began participating in these services. He indicates to me he's committed to the service plan and will do what's necessary to have Lucas's return home. Thank you.
Okay, so let me just express, I don't know if you've been a participant in earlier hearings. I think you have, Mr. Shaw. I know I've said this to Ms. Franstead. I just want you to understand how damaging domestic violence can be to a child. I realize, it's damaging to whoever the abused party is, but it's particularly damaging to a child. Kids are hardwired to believe their parents are good. And when they're exposed to parents behaving badly, and I realize Lucas is fairly young, looks like he just had his first birthday last month.
Yes, Your Honor.
It's still damaging. They don't know how to process it. Particularly as they get a little older, the way they process it is, well, my parents are good. I must have done something wrong to make them do this. This is my fault. And it really is hard on a kid. So I strongly encourage you both to get as much help as you can to make sure that something like that never gets repeated in his presence. This is not a criminal proceeding. It's designed with a goal of getting you back together as a family and certainly reunifying you as parents and child. So I wish you well. Of course, Ms. Franstead, as I do you. We will set this matter for, we'll probably already have a review hearing scheduled, don't we, Shannon?
July 20th at 9.
July 20th at
9.
At 9. We'll just keep that same date on and we'll see how everyone's doing. I wish you well, parents.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. And let's see. Perry Keys. And I think I've only got one person left in the waiting room. Let me see who that is. Oh, you're free to leave, Mr. Shaw.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Peyton Keys.
Oh, it says Perry on the, it's Peyton Perry Keys. It's a hyphenated last name. So we're both right, Mr. Brown.
Well, I'll let you think that.
You don't know what I'm thinking. Okay, so let's see. We've got Mr. Brown as LGAL on this file. Ms. Tucker represents the petitioner. We've got Katie Comstock present on behalf of the agency, as well as Molly Wagner. And I'm not sure. Oh, this is a dependency petition.
Correct.
So I just need to take some testimony and establish a basis for taking jurisdiction of Peyton.
Is Theodore Keys in the waiting room by chance? He's the dad in this. I would prefer to take it from him if we can, but I guess it's no big deal if we can't.
He's not there. I brought everyone in. I don't remember seeing that name at all earlier either.
Okay.
Ms. Comstock? Would you raise your right hand, please? You do swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
State your full name for the record.
Catherine Comstock.
Go ahead, Ms. Tucker.
Thank you. Ms. Comstock, you are employed with the Department of Health and Human Services.
Yes, I am.
Is it through that capacity that you became involved with the minor child Peyton Perry Keys, date of birth September 27th, 2004?
Yes.
Is it your understanding that the father to that minor child is Theodore Keys, date of birth May 31st, 1982?
Yes, he is.
Okay. And is it your understanding that the mother to that minor child is Jessica Medert, date of birth September 17th, 1984?
Yes.
Did you author a petition to ask the court to take jurisdiction over just Peyton as a dependent?
I did.
Can you tell me some of the reasons why you feel Peyton should be a dependent on the courts or under the court's jurisdiction?
Originally, when I had gotten my complaint, it was for a domestic altercation that happened between Dana Chapel, her stepmom, and Theodore Keys. Dana and Payne had gotten into an altercation when I went to the house. According to law enforcement, she'd done over $2,000 in destruction to the house. The house was completely destroyed. Peyton was not at the home. She was a runaway at the time. I had found Peyton at America's Best under the influence of substances. And I had originally safety planned her to go back home. We were going to follow her back home and have a conversation with the dad about getting Peyton services when she had ran away again. Prior to this, Peyton was charged with an OWI, maybe I believe a month beforehand. And at that point, I had talked to Theodore after finding Peyton at America's Best, and he said that he did not know how to deal with her behaviors anymore. They're just due to her criminal history and her constant running away. We decided to file the dependency petition as she was a danger, not only to herself for her substance abuse, but a danger to her dad as well for assaultive behaviors.
Okay. So you said that Theodore indicated he could no longer control Peyton. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And did he ever indicate that he was no longer willing to have Peyton in his home?
No, he did say that he did want to have services for her, but after a discussion with supervision, that we had decided to file the dependency petition just because of her constant running away and continuing to grow criminal history.
Okay. And what about Jessica Medert? Have you ever been able to talk to her?
I did get in contact with her once. I had kind of discussed with her what was going on, but Peyton and I also had a conversation. She has not talked to Jessica Medert in a couple years. Jessica did disclose that to me as well, and she also does have substance abuse history. And I did send her the petition and everything, and she did sign for it. So she is aware of what's going on.
Is there any reason to believe that if Peyton was placed back with Theodore Keys, that anyone in that home would be in danger?
I believe so, yes. I believe him, his girlfriend, and Peyton as well.
Okay. To your knowledge, has Peyton ever made any threats to kill anyone in that home?
I believe so. I believe that I cannot recall if it was either Dana or Theodore, but she did threaten to kill one of them.
Okay.
I believe it was Dana. Sorry, I'm looking at my petition right now. It was Dana who she had threatened to harm as well. And Peyton did confirm that she did do that.
Thank you. Can you tell me some of the reasonable efforts you've made with Peyton so far?
I So far right now, I know that I believe, is involved in probation, and I believe that she is starting to do substance abuse treatment, but I would have to refer to Molly on what she is also in as of right now.
Okay. Do you happen to know if Peyton's also getting services through juvenile probation?
I am not quite sure, just because I think that she was just charged with it. So I don't know if they had gotten to that point yet for services.
Okay, thank you. Your Honor, I have no further questions for this witness. I believe enough has been laid out for the court to take jurisdiction of this minor as a dependent. Thank you.
Anyone else have questions for the witness?
Ma'am, do you have any idea, since this case's inception, how Peyton is doing in her foster care placement?
I did see Peyton once to take her some clothes, probably about a month and a half ago, but I would have to defer to Molly on that one. She does have more frequent contact with her than I did.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
So for purposes of adjudication, I do find that the record establishes the basis for me to take jurisdiction over Peyton because she has repeatedly run away from home and is beyond the control of her father, demonstrated by her violent behavior within the home. She indeed poses a threat to the occupants of the home, although I don't know that that's necessary for me to establish jurisdiction, but I am going to take jurisdiction. Are we able to proceed with disposition today, Ms. Wagner?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes.
What are your recommendations? And I guess before we get to that, can you answer Mr. Brown's question as to how Peyton's doing?
So Peyton is doing okay. She is attending school at Homer High School. She's going every day. There was an issue with her having a cell phone, which was provided by the foster parents to her, trusting that she would make the right decisions having it. And they were having cars randomly pull up to their house. And then Peyton was saying she didn't know who it was. And she did. She was calling them to come there. We're pretty sure that they were bringing her some type of prescription pills. So they took the cell phone. She hasn't had it in about 3 weeks, but we're currently looking for different placement for her because the foster parents are having some issues of their own, and the foster mom has to have surgery, and she's stating that having placement of Peyton right now is too much for them to handle. So I'm looking for a new placement for her. She doesn't have the cell phone, and the concern with having a cell phone is who she's contacting and who was coming to their house. They had no idea who the person was. And it happened more than once. So yeah, that's where we're at with her placement.
Okay,
What are
thank you.
your recommendations for her service plan?
So she's scheduled for a substance abuse evaluation next week. So I would recommend that she follow the recommendations of the substance abuse evaluation. I am recommending drug screens, that we can do drug screens for her. And I'm recommending that she follow her community mental health treatment plan.
And I would recommend that she not have a cell phone. Probably not a good idea.
Yes.
And we'll do a review hearing when, Shannon?
I just want to make sure that it was just drug screens for the minor and follow community mental health treatment.
And follow the substance abuse evaluation recommendations.
Thank you. Okay, so let's see. Our next hearing will be August 31st at 9.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good day. We'll see you
Yeah.
next week.
All right.
Thank you.